Good evening. It is Monday, August 8th, 2022. Welcome back to BoomerRex Tonight, your daily source for news and politics. All right, where was I? I'm RisenLadyHeathen. Hey, asshole, what separates our show from other millennial news?
Now we know tonight the Lion's Gate opens and the ability to manifest things will be increased highly, according to the numerological dipshit.
Yeah, that's
Just because I don't fucking find your baubles interesting doesn't mean I can't speak your garbage.
God.
Jesus, you should see me quote the Bible. But, or the Torah, or the Talmud.
We have a boomer and a Gen Zer, not just any boomer and Gen Zer.
Or
We
the
have
Quran.
Mr. BoomerRex himself.
You know, who's considering leaving the table because people are crazy.
My
No, 'cause
son Sleet.
He's not wrong, you know.
I mean, they're wrong, but,
Yeah.
Lionsgate, huh?
yeah.
Asshole and Boomer eat, sleep, and breathe politics, and Sleet and I are learning. That's four unique perspectives we share, along with the facts from our literal round table. You'll all have to excuse me. I'm a little under the weather tonight.
She got the mama.
I did that from memory. I
You did?
think
That
I
wasn't
got
bad.
it almost
Yeah.
word for word. That's not bad.
Pretty close.
No, a friend of mine was telling me how, because this friend and I, we used to laugh a great deal at her sister's nonsense. And one of the things is about how there's going to be a portal opening around midnight last night. And yeah, so I was like, portal, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, the Lion's Gate, because the sun is in Who Gives a Shit, Leo, I'm guessing. And the other things in retrograde and the belt of Orion. So what it really is the fucking star in the Leo constellation and Orion's belt are going to align, or some fucking monkey standing on a rock just making shit up to try and get in someone's pants.
Yeah.
But,
Some
Is this like
Pandora-
standard astrology?
yeah.
Okay.
Some
Wow.
sort of Pandora's fucking whatever is going to be opened, and only certain things are going to come out. It's fucking.
All depends on who you ask and what kind of story they need to tell to make them take their top off.
Yeah, true.
But, or bottoms, hip, 90s with it, me, whatever you're into, get each other naked, the internet. I'm all in favor of that.
You
All
should
right.
learn at least a few chords on a
I
guitar.
know guitar.
It is just the news Monday, so
Exactly
take
that
it
news.
away, Boomer.
So, I've got good news. You know, we've always thought that humans arrived in North America about
5 million years
Really,
ago.
really
No,
long
no,
time ago.
no, no, no.
Yeah, about 16,000 years ago.
I was close.
So we have now discovered some mammoth bones, which have clear evidence of having been butchered to get, you know,
The meat.
off the bone and so forth, and then rendered in a fire, right, to get the fat out and so forth and so on. Anyway, the mammoth bones are dated 36,000 to 38,000 years ago.
Yeah.
So we've been here a while longer than we thought.
Yeah, that's not like we found something and scavenged. But yeah,
Yeah.
not damn. I mean, we might have, but
Yep. So
not
anyway,
the same thing.
not generally accepted yet, but good evidence, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
I was kind of enjoying it.
No, I agree.
Oh,
So it is. We're gonna find out all this stuff about our species right before we all die.
yeah.
That's cool.
Well, some Gaia decided to get rid of us, tell us all the secrets, and then just snuff us out. So anyway,
Wow,
next up,
that's kind of dark.
Somebody scrawl a V8 engine on the side of the "will kill you forever" radiation warning things.
sure. So anyway, next up is the generals did what? So anyway, national security expert says a new bombshell report on Donald Trump's relationship with his
We're gonna
generals
fight about this.
reveals an unlawful conspiracy to disobey the commander-in-chief.
Charges for fucking all of them. We'll sort this out in court. But my target would be to remove their pensions and everything else. I'd want to remove their entire value of their service.
Well, you do.
Yeah.
Way you do that is reduce them to the lowest enlisted grade,
yes.
sentence them to 10 years at hard labor,
fucking
and
do it.
dishonorably discharge
Yes,
them.
I
Then they
turbo
can't be
down.
buried with a flag.
And I believe that is the appropriate response to this.
All
For
right,
at least
and
a
I'll
couple of
argue it.
reasons.
I'll argue it by
Yep.
saying at that time, everybody in Washington knew that the fucking Trump administration was planning a coup.
Oh yeah, it was absolutely batshit insane.
All right, so I have no problem at all with the generals coordinating with members of Congress to stop the coup.
I will
They do not have a responsibility to support a criminal act.
I'm being nice. I'm gonna get rid of my first easy throwaway answer on this.
Okay?
That no one should have heard about this shit.
On
This
that,
is some
I
take it to the
complete-
grave shit.
Yes. I
That's
totally
my.
agree with.
I
You
disarm
don't
my
ever
one
talk
easy
about it.
attack. Because that's the.
Yeah.
This has to work. People, countries don't get invaded because they believe our military will respond, and they actually believe the idea that it consults the civilian part is bullshit. Right? Most of the countries we think about fighting with don't believe that the military is not in charge of way more shit than it looks like from the outside.
No. And here, where they were absolutely on the hairy edge, right? Where, again, as I said, everybody in Washington knew that the Trump administration was planning a coup.
Yep.
And I have no heartburn with what the generals did. But I totally agree with you. Is it something you don't ever talk about?
Yep.
Period.
And again, I can get into the nitty gritty about the talking to another branch of government. Again, it's one thing if generals decide they're not going to do a thing, but setting up a thing behind things. Because part of this was we were concerned about how it opened the door to politicization of DOJ, and that ship sailed long ago,
Yeah.
20 odd years ago.
Yeah.
Right? You can look at how DOD handled the gear up for Iraq and kept everyone else who knew anything about Iraq out of the room at all cost. Because they knew what they were going to do. They didn't need any of those inconvenient fucking facts getting involved with what was going to happen immediately after.
Yeah. No, here, it's absolutely legitimate for an officer to look at an order and say, I'm not obeying that order, it's illegal.
I think it is.
What?
So here's my problem with it. It's some of the coordination between multiple branches.
No, and I was saying,
Okay.
an individual officer can decide, I will not pass this order on. I
Yep.
will not take this order. And then offer his resignation.
Yeah.
Um,
Kind of what you get to
and
do
go
unless they're
straight
gonna
to the press.
have a shootout in your office. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I recommend again.
What was on the edge was talking to members of Congress and
Bingo.
talking among themselves. I
Curious
don't
if you
think
have
it's
the same
over the
objection, Andy.
edge. I don't think it's over the edge when you know that Trump and his minions were planning a coup.
I have a problem with it because of the false sense of security it provides Congress. Because in a real military coup, there won't be a general in sight. They'll all be taken into custody. They'll be run
Or
by
they'll all be
Congress.
on the coup team.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah,
The ones that aren't are going to go home to spend time with their families or whatever.
if they're lucky.
Yes. That's what you're going to say no matter what.
Yeah.
And that's my thing is that, right, having generals talk to Congress like they're going to be around when that decision gets made,
Yeah.
right? They're not, right? Their staff is going to arrest them.
Yeah.
Or someone else is, and their staff may or may not make it out of the
Oh, yeah.
building.
No,
Like,
you can look at every
Yeah.
little banana republic,
You can
which
look at
is what
everything
we are
we've ever
rapidly
toppled.
becoming.
yeah.
So, well, we had Trump try
I-
to topple us.
Russia's good point about
It's an
that.
armed insurrection against
they've
the
got.
United States.
Yeah. Hey, you get no trouble from me.
Okay.
I'm not disagreeing with any of that. My objection is A, don't tell Congress you got the ball when like all you're doing is calling like dibs on it. Because they don't. They don't have any fucking power, and I know they think they do. But if the 19-year-olds aren't following you, it doesn't matter what fucking orders you give. So I have no idea how the military shakes out at that level.
Yeah. No, but I guarantee you, people who were in on the phone calls and so forth within the Republican Party, that some of them who are actually patriots
Yep.
got in touch with generals and said, fellas, you cannot take these orders. They are planning on using the Insurrection Act. You have to tell him to fuck himself. And which would have been a criminal act. Every one of them should have told him to fuck himself. So,
That one gets weird. Because I'm not sure that any of those laws have the guardrails for, right, illegally declaring it. Right, all of his pardons carry the full weight of the presidency. Yeah, but that's why it's important not to let crazy in the office.
oh yeah, no,
Once he declares an insurrection.
let us understand, the problem here is not the generals who struggled with a difficult question.
Yeah.
The problem is the fucking animal that
They thought they could
some
ring fence
stupid
around.
people elected president.
Yes. Well, it comes from the nonsense American
And
mythology.
then one of our parties got on its knees
Yeah.
and licked. So, anyway.
Yeah. That's America. Like it's one of them.
Anyway,
Democrats get a lot done. That's going to help anybody who isn't already making a pretty good living in America.
a little bit, but not much. So,
Well, let's go piss on that.
we'll get there. So there should be consequences. So speaking of consequences, the father and son who killed Ahmaud Arbery
Yes.
were both given an additional sentence of life in prison on Monday on federal hate crimes charges.
Oh yeah.
The judge also required that Travis McMichael, Greg McMichael, and William Rode Bryan serve their sentences in state prison.
Here's open.
Yep, because they were really hoping to be put in a federal prison instead
Jesus,
of, yeah. Oh,
Which
well,
is already a thing. Like, you want reasons why some shit should be on fire, America.
yeah.
The fact that some states' prisons are real fucking threats is not a good idea.
Yep.
Well, the fact that there are some state prisons that are worse than fucking federal prisons.
Oh, they're all
No,
worse
federal
than
prisons are fine by comparison with
Yeah.
any state prison you can name.
that. It is true.
Yeah, federal
So,
prison actually,
there's rules.
follows laws and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
most of
we'll
them.
see. That's my concern about this is whether or not it's the test case for taking it to the Supreme Court,
Yeah, we'll see.
because it would let them strike down hate crimes legislation, which that was so poorly fucking handled.
Yeah. So let's see, what other, oh, yes.
Oh, I was gonna say of this case, it does give me hope that the Fed charges for the cops that lied to get the warrant on Breonna Taylor's apartment.
We'll go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was used to the normal answer of, right, hey, DOJ doesn't get to do much on these because a lot of the laws they're trying to deal with were written for, right, Klan members, sheriffs in the South.
Yeah.
So unless they wake up a racist, made their breakfast as a racist, and then wrote down in their little racist journal all the racist things they were going to do,
Yeah.
we don't have a lot of action on them. But, fuck, we got these two idiots.
Well,
3 idiots.
they lied to
Yeah.
get a no-knock warrant,
Yep.
right, and then fucked it up totally, resulting in the death of an innocent human
And
being.
if I'm their lawyer, my first answer there is going to be, how far outside the normal procedures was that? Not the policy, but the, right, did they behave?
Fortunately, I'm going to convict your ass on the
For
policy.
sure.
So,
Yeah. Not if it goes to jury. I don't know.
as a judge, I'm not going to let you bring that in. So,
We'll find out.
yeah. But if you do, then, well, anyway, never mind.
Yeah. I mean, then I'm just going to argue for jury nullification and death to the state.
So anyway, a witness who was to appear on Tuesday before a special grand jury has told them he can't come because his doctor told him he couldn't fly on an airplane.
Are we, like, hiding his identity for a reason?
So Rudy Giuliani's been offered a bus ticket and told he will appear.
Yeah. We'll see.
So, yeah.
I have limited faith in this. I think Giuliani
I don't know how you do. I think you might be able to send Georgia police to wherever the fuck he is, arrest him, and drive him back in a car, or put him on a prison bus.
They might have to get the local cops to get him for him. Or
They might
at
have to
least
get the
be
local
present.
cops to go with him.
Yeah,
With him, yeah.
yeah.
But
I think the local cops have to at least be present during the arrest.
Yeah.
They might actually have to be the ones to do the arrest
I
itself.
think the first person in the chain of that command who's got to stand for election is going to quash the shit out of this tomorrow morning. And find some way to be agreeable to the very nice man in New York.
Don't think so.
We'll see. It's still fucking Georgia. Like, stop trying to
Yeah.
make Melania and Georgia part of the resistance. I didn't win Georgia because suddenly Georgians, like, decided how policy works.
Yeah, true.
We won Georgia because Trump came out and said, don't vote.
So, under the heading of just fuck 'em, in an interview with Business Insider, former Donald Trump campaign manager Paul Manafort admitted that he was in contact with the Russians and sharing information during the former president's 2016 presidential run.
Admitted it.
For sure.
Admitted it. But he claims it's all okay because
Yeah.
he told Insider that he directed his deputy, Rick Gates, to feed Klimnik the polling data to keep Constantine is the Russian agent, informed. He said the goal was to use his access to Trump to drum up business for his consulting firm. So that
To a
was all
smaller
okay.
crime that is in line with expectations. Yeah.
So
No, this is an ad for Manafort. This is why Manafort will go back to consulting for the worst people on planet Earth. First off, let's remember that Manafort, Shithead, and the other one invented the concept of lobbying. When they started, there were 64 registered lobbyists in the United States.
Yep.
No,
Well,
this is
and we had a president who could be bought, which is why lobbying got to
When
be
do
such
we
a.
think we haven't? Obama wasn't bought,
I don't think so.
so he's just incompetent. I guess that's better.
Well, I would
but
say most presidents, you could offer them money and they would do something.
I don't think so. I think most presidents would have had you arrested
Maybe
for
not
making
Teddy,
the offer.
but
Anyway, and maybe not. I don't know how far we've fallen into this culture of criminality that is the Republican Party.
the fact that he needed to get paid to use his political apparatus, I don't know.
Yeah, no,
Again, there'd be stretches. No, I don't think it's going to be as easy as bribery. But yeah, none of this is either, because no shit. Criminals know the law better, certainly better than cops, but almost as good as lawyers.
So anyway, as long as we're on the heading of just fuck 'em, Russian state television programming has been very impressed with former President Donald Trump's weekend speech at the CPAC. They said it made them more enthusiastic about bringing him back to the White House, all but admitting that they bought it for him last time.
Gonna do it again.
So anyway, yeah, they're certainly going to try.
You see, they're fucking with the meme stock kids.
Yeah. Anyway, they're now telling their audiences, the election is near and China may soon become a friend and a valued partner of the Republicans led by Trump. Of course. They're both trying to defeat the United States and they will absolutely be allies of Trump.
Yes.
So,
so
again, which suggests to you that Trump is not an ally of the United States.
I would certainly say Trump is not a part of the U.S. at this point.
Yep.
Because he's actively trying to rebel against what is considered the
Yes,
United
an armed
States.
insurrection against the United States of America.
Yeah.
I think he should be treated as a foreigner and kicked out.
You can't treat somebody as a foreigner just because they do something like that. If anything, it should be
You
worse
can't
because he's an American. He
Treat
should
born
be treated...
citizens that way.
Yeah.
Fair.
Hold on.
I think
Again-
a few months in Guantanamo would be fine.
Yeah, that's the first off. The protection of being an American citizen is wildly eroded.
Yeah,
But nah,
I know.
because you'd have to. It's like wishing for a liberal fascism to happen first. It'd be cute, and yeah, such a thing could exist, but
Theoretically,
Yeah.
on paper.
And given a choice, I'm with the liberals every time. So.
yeah, right. But hurting those cats is going to be hard.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. So and now we're up to about damn time.
Hell yeah.
On Monday, CNN reported that FBI agents have executed a search warrant at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
No kidding. It's only been 2 fucking years, too fucking late. So,
Well, when did we find out about Trump's scrapbooking?
oh, months and months and months ago. Anyway. And that was a national security matter where you would have thought somebody would say, no, guys, we go look now.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't have spent 20 years saying that about literally everything we did. Right, Iraq and Afghanistan are just nothing but national security matters that weren't. Remember, this is the same period where FBI just could write their own search warrants. You want to know why the FBI is not real good at investigating the people that gave them the power to write their own search warrants? Huh,
Yeah.
weird.
So anyway, Trump is really pissed. These are dark times for our nation. My beautiful home is currently under siege, being raided and occupied by a large group of FBI agents. Yeah, that's kind of like officers at Nuremberg. And nothing like this has happened to a president of the United States before, because we've never had a president of the United States before who engaged in so much criminal activity.
Yeah. And
So-
I think some of the previous presidents
Who did
would've-
Teapot Dome?
Did they just raid Mar-a-Lago, or did they raid any of his other residences?
They raided Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, no, I'll give you. I don't think there's ever been a president whose entire ass life has been one ongoing criminal conspiracy.
Yeah.
Right, or just criminal conspiracy to criminal conspiracy.
Well, and most previous presidents would have been smart enough to not get caught doing it.
Yeah.
They certainly had the money to make sure none of the
That's
evidence
the
existed.
problem with the structure the Trump type builds. They cannot have anyone close to them. Right? You can look at his endorsements. None of the people he endorses could run against him.
Yeah.
Right? They're building the same structure the kleptocracy in Russia uses.
Oh, yeah. No. Second-rate men choose third-rate men.
Yeah.
That's how it works. So let's see. What else have we got? Oh, dumbass du jour. You know, we really need to take all of the Republican politicians and give them a 9th grade course in sex.
That
We
would help.
really do, right? Human reproductive health. So we got another Republican who's just publicly humiliated themselves. But you got to go back to Todd Akin, who ran for the U.S. Senate in Missouri, said that women can't get pregnant from rape because if it is a legitimate rape, the female body has ways
Didn't we talk about this before?
to shut that whole thing down, years ago when it happened. So anyway, that's false.
Well, of course it's false. Anyone who's taken any sort of basic health or
Does.
sex ed knows
Yeah.
that is false, which is why we're having this problem, because they've taken sex ed out of so many fucking schools. It's ridiculous.
Clearly out of the one that the Republican leadership went through. So now,
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Harvard.
because they're the ones that are removing it. Of course, the schools they go
Senator
through
Tim
that.
Scott, Republican, South Carolina, can be added to the list. Scott thinks women carry a fetus for longer than 52 weeks. He says if we don't take back the Senate, Dems will pack the courts and give D.C. statehood and grant abortion up to 52 weeks.
Those are all
Say
good
at 52
things.
weeks, you're going to do an abortion because it's rotted. So anyway, by
Or
many,
the
many, many
woman's
weeks.
already dead.
Yeah.
All right, or he's thinking we want to be able to like abort them post-term, and I mean, yeah, but
Well, yeah. I hadn't thought of that.
college.
Here's my
football.
thing. The only cases in America that are medically done abortions late term, okay, is when the fetus is non-viable. In other words, it is missing a lung, part of its brain, any number of important things, and it will only be born to suffer and die, and that will be its only purpose.
That's what they think human life is for.
Yeah.
Fuck that
Maybe
shit.
it can sweep floors for $1.25 an hour.
It
No,
can't if
it
it's
can't.
dead.
Yeah.
It won't even
Robot.
last 5 minutes outside.
Well,
without
then we
being
can use it
resuscitated
for
again.
third base.
No, I've had friends who
Yep.
had babies that lasted days, but
Yep.
it was
But hey,
horrific
at least you
for the
managed to
baby,
get
it was
somebody hooked up
horrific
with
for
some
the
medical debt that they can profit off
family
of.
members.
Yeah, there you go. So anyway, now we've worked our way up to just sad. We have yet another example of this whole Trump world, right, is set up to do one thing.
Yep.
It's to fleece the people who think for unimaginable reasons that Donald Trump is a human being.
Well, they see all those eagles in the graphics package.
Oh, yeah. No, I saw him hug the flag. Made me sick to my stomach. I hope somebody washed that flag. So anyway, one of the big paraphernalia companies just got busted for cutting out the Made in China tags and putting in Made in
Oh, yeah.
USA tags,
Yeah, that shit's
which is
funny.
the perfect way to fleece the Trump supporters.
Yeah.
Right?
'Cause
They are
want
nothing
made
but
in America stuff.
no, they're exactly what Fox News always specialized in, which is getting the gullible together to watch an ad for something that was going to cheat them,
Yep.
right? So this is,
Gold, low-end catheters.
oh, yeah, just,
Silver.
Yep. Oh, always silver. Silver's where the kids went after the gold bug nonsense, because there's no reason gold would make any kind of a good exchange. But anyway,
Bleached colloidal silver.
so anyway, Yeah. And they sold them those coins that have
Yeah.
0.008 ounces of gold in them.
Which is worth
For-
like 10 cents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they sold those for $5.
Well, and
Oh,
the
I
idea
thought they
that
were
you're
selling
going
for 20. You must have seen a better commercial than I did.
the idea that you're going to use gold to trade in the
Anything.
apocalypse.
Yeah.
It
Yeah, that's
depends
going to
what
happen
kind of
once.
apocalypse, but gold is probably not what you're going to use.
Yeah.
You can't eat it. You can't grow it. You can't put it in a rifle.
No. You're gonna pull out some gold, and some people are gonna be like, "All right, thanks. You're gonna give us the rest."
Let's
of
go
that
to my
gold
pile
right
of
now."
gold that idiots showed me today.
Yeah.
No, you'd go better with books, seeds, anyway.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Trading of
Books on farming.
bartering.
Yeah.
You're
Yep.
better off bartering in an apocalypse.
Non-hybrid seeds.
No, shit, gold didn't make any sense until kings first showed up.
Certain hybrid seeds. You want hybrid seeds that'll regrow though.
Right. And
That
they
you
don't.
can get more.
No medium of
Hybrids don't.
exchange will make sense until you have people that are willing to accept it as a medium of exchange.
Yeah,
Most
that would
hybrids
require
don't.
a
I don't
government.
know.
I agree with you. Most hybrids don't, but I do believe there are some that do.
So anyway, yeah, the company got fined $211,000. What should have happened is they should have been forced to replace every garment or take a return on every garment they ever sold.
Yep.
Yeah.
Would be better.
Which would have wiped them out. So anyway, so
No,
You
but
know,
again, this is the lack of
211,000
Yeah.
just a tax on
Needed
what
a
they stole from the.
pro-business
this
legal
is
system.
the lack of being able to sue businesses that perform bad practices out of being able to do business, and that was the whole point of being able to sue a business. They have now ruined that by saying that you cannot sue a business into obscurity.
But businesses are more important than people. Just ask the Republicans.
Oh, no. The argument initially was corporations are people, but now corporations are actually better than people.
Yeah.
They've gone beyond that.
Yes.
And
They don't
it's
need
a
food.
Corporations are the superior race.
They have the money. That makes them
Yeah.
better than people.
Yep.
So, anyway, so now, and the other is the People's Convoy has just devolved into a group that are living in their cars. And, it was the 1776 Restoration Movement.
Yeah.
And it was to protest vaccine mandates and then
Bunch of people
everything
getting
else anybody
swamped.
could think of and driving around DC and
Yeah, we
so
remember.
anyway, $1.8 million collected. Nobody has any idea where it went.
A meaningful amount of money.
It was all a fucking scam to begin with.
Fuck,
Yeah.
you guys have made more just promising you deliver shit to Ukraine, because fuck me. Why didn't we? Okay, at this point, we really probably should talk about, can we just buy Ukraine, the fucking Russian army? Since we have now spent multiples of what their annual, budget is. Just seems like that'd be a better way. Like, Russia can't be a threat if we buy their fucking army.
Yes, and we should use the frozen capital here in the
Fuck, I
U.S.
don't
to
care.
pay off their army.
Like, I give a fuck where the
Yeah.
money comes from.
Well, I do. I want it to come out of Russia's pocket.
Cool.
So they've got like 256 billion. We could just seize and do as we please. So
No, the People's Convoy is tragic, and it's going to be why the Civil War is so much worse than anyone's imagining, because the Democrats think they're going to do well because, we got all the college kids, and they have all the guns. So, great. So we'll have non-conventional versus conventional weapons. What this was a shit ton of people making their last desperate gasp for help as they get swamped by the nightmare America's rapidly becoming.
yep.
And now, since no one came to their aid, when the time comes, all the people they see out there, those aren't Americans. Light them up. No, this is the worst part. This is how we guarantee the hyper-violence that's to come.
Yeah. But again, as you say, desperate people who tried to call attention to their desperation
Yeah.
in remarkably silly ways.
In
But
remarkably
we didn't-
peaceful ways.
Mm-hmm.
How many federal buildings did they lose? I just want to point out that was the work about a half an idiot who spent one summer in Manila.
All right, fine. So next
Don't
up
blow
is
up buildings, the internet.
don't send shit.
Yeah.
An Ohio man has been arrested for being accused of sending 36 feces-filled letters to lawmakers. As amusing as that is, don't do it.
Yeah.
So,
Solicited
But it is
biological
amusing.
samples are a bad thing.
all right. And now we're down to Bernie don't like it.
Nice, fucking right.
In many ways, he's right. The Inflation Reduction Act is not going to do much for inflation.
It's not going to do much for anyone.
Falls far short of what is needed when Americans are growing increasingly disillusioned with government, and a tiny fraction of wealthy individuals and families own a hugely disproportionate share of the nation's wealth.
Well, yeah, because they're cheating.
They're not cheating. They bought the government.
Exactly.
It's what they're doing is perfectly legal.
Then when you
So-
do the
I
legal
would
system-
consider that cheating.
Yeah.
Huh?
Well, I think
You
buying
are
the, I
begging
think buying the
people
government is cheating,
unfairly.
but
Yep.
we had a fucking Supreme Court that said
Yep.
it was perfectly legal. So, anyway,
If you are playing a game of Monopoly with people and one person or
Yeah.
a couple people have all of the money
Hey.
and they're actively paying off a referee,
yeah, hate to tell you, perfectly legal.
Yep.
then
Stop
I'm
buying
manipulating the
things.
world that way.
Dow zero. Let's go. Since the majority of Americans don't own any stock at all. Nope, that's the thing I want to talk to the boomers about is so cool. You made yours and all of that. And hey, if you've got investments that are right in things not the US dollar, then cool. This may actually work out for you. But if all of your investments are tied up in things that are valued in US dollars, it'll all go away.
Yeah.
You aren't one of the oligarchs who's going to get to run away if you don't have a shit pot full of euros as well.
Yeah. So anyway, Sanders points out the legislation doesn't reflect the reality of the income and wealth distribution inequality today.
No,
Does nothing to address the systemic dysfunctionality of American health care.
We are literally
Does
descending
nothing
into
to
a
address the nation's rate of childhood poverty, and pointed to Joe Manchin's opposition to continuing the child tax credit. So,
the most purely self-serving thing I've seen the Democrats do in 40 years of watching them. Well, 30 years of watching them.
so he
They
said,
did it so they didn't get spanked about the Obamacare coming apart because it was fucking half a loaf when it started. Millennials, my advice to you is get the fuck out of Obamacare. Crash it now. Put it in the death spiral. There is no tax penalty for not having insurance, so unless you have assets that could be taken due to, medical bills, fuck them. You'll get it after in the emergency room. They don't need your money. You need it more than they do.
At this point, yeah.
Yeah, I might have to drop my Obamacare.
so anyway, he's pointing out the one bright spot was allowing Medicare to negotiate drug prices,
Kind of.
and then pointed out, of course, that it doesn't cover insulin.
Yep.
Because
Which is the one thing that needed to be fucking covered. God damn.
it's certainly one of the big ones.
It's the one I'd point to. It's the one that rural America
Well,
has
it's
the
the
most trouble
one
in.
somebody paid somebody not to
Republicans
put in
made
the
them take it out
bill.
of it, didn't they?
Yeah, well, look and see who they were paid by.
Yep. Same people that are paying the Democrats, but
They were paid by
Anyone-
whoever runs the insulin companies.
So,
Anyone who has ever read any of the corporate takeover dystopias where all the corporations have all the control, you realize all of the people who are living what would be considered normal lives are also criminals in that society.
and all of those are better than where we currently are.
Yep. Because right now we're set to go into a war over
Yep.
this as opposed to smoothly transitioning
Oh, a civil
into
war.
the crime part.
So it'll be the worst of the worst.
Yep.
Yep.
The kind that doesn't ever let there be peace afterwards.
yep,
This'll be
neighbor
last-
against neighbor.
Yep.
This is starting to sound like some Warhammer shit. I'm
Yep.
not gonna lie.
Well, yeah, it's gonna be worse. Than
I
a
would
lot
look
of
to the
shit going
Bosnian
there.
Civil War, which divided families.
Yep. So,
Or any of the Spanish civil wars, which I always found amusing. Fucking 20 ways
Interestingly.
over war.
because I was vaguely interested in the rebate on EVs. Probably there are no EVs that currently
Nope.
qualify for the.
So that was some good
Um,
pie in the sky shit.
Well, the requirements that are in place will wildly encourage moving certain kinds of manufacturing into the U.S. to qualify. Okay, I'm kind of halfway okay with that, but I would
Depends
really
what the-
like the rebate, and it doesn't look like I'm going to get one.
It depends
So-
what the stockholders' ownership of the Mexican factories looks like.
Yep. So
'Cause it-
instead, I will probably buy a gasoline vehicle. So,
No, this is the kind we are getting to a place and have made a long enough series of mistakes that one of the ways I knew we weren't doomed and that no one knew there was like an asteroid coming or something else that made all of this just bullshit
yeah.
was that we wouldn't make certain like just pointless fucking mistakes. And we have made several of those.
Yeah.
That made me wonder if we know that, right, we've got better satellites, and we know the answer on climate change is everyone's fucked. Or whatever, right? That
Where we're going on climate change is
It is-
not pleasant.
Yeah.
It is sad to me that a lot of the dystopia writers actually undershot it, quite
Yeah.
possibly.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they needed a cast. It's hard to write a story in a place.
No,
with
we will
post-humans.
be insanely lucky not to have 3 to 5 degrees centigrade of warming,
Yep.
which makes huge chunks of the world unlivable. So, and unfarmable, which is what will cause the
Well,
wars.
it'll move all of the farming locations to colder areas, which means the farmlands will have to shift entirely.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
It'll happen too quickly for that to happen, and not to
Yeah.
mention all of the disputes. If I've been on this land for 600 years or whatever other bullshit,
Yeah.
it'd be unfair to everyone.
It doesn't. Here's the thing: if you own land that is now suddenly no longer fertile, that's your
You're
problem.
fucked. If
No,
you
I
own the
mean,
land,
their land they're
nothing
going to
you-
try and move into up north.
They're not going to try
you're
to
going to
move.
end up
going-
in reservations.
They're going to go broke right there.
Yep.
So there won't be any way for them to move. They'll lose their equipment, they'll lose their land, they'll lose their house.
That was already part of the thing. Plus, I'd like to point
Well,
out,
and
fuck the 97% of them that are corporations.
part of this is people need to stop buying almond milk, stop producing, because almond milk is one of the most almonds. Making almonds
Yep.
takes retarded
5
amounts of
gallons
water.
per nut.
5 gallons per nut. Do you even understand how many nuts it takes to
Do
make
we know where that
1
number
gallon
came
of
from?
Fucking.
I have to look.
Okay.
We did look it up a couple of times.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
5 gallons of water is enough to take a human across about a month, maybe more.
5 gallons? No.
You can
yeah,
get by on
if you-
half gallon a day,
yeah.
and if you were in a temperate
ration it out
climate,
and-
and well, you get much below a half gallon a day, you're probably in trouble. So
It's cool though. We did also find out you can't drink rainwater anymore.
yeah,
You can't drink fucking rainwater anymore?
Thanks, Dow. And all the other manufacturing
it
of
has the
PFAS.
forever chemicals in
Yep.
it. So
We're fucked. In
Yeah.
any survival situation,
Yeah.
the one
Oh, yeah.
best source of pure water is no longer pure.
yeah.
Well,
Well, it
You have
never
to purify
was.
the fucking rainwater now.
You'd think you could gather up snow and melt it and have drinkable water.
Nope.
There are very few places in the U.S. where you can do that. And rain washes the same shit out of the sky.
yeah.
So, anyway, so we've made our way to health threats. So somebody finally did a study on what effect has the warming of the earth had on diseases.
Yeah? I'm sure it was good.
Yeah.
I'm sure it really fucked them diseases up.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah,
So
no, it was good for the disease.
looked at 70,000 scientific studies to form a climate hazard. What is the climate hazard done for 375 pathogens? And yeah, it's made all but a handful worse.
Yep.
And it will continue to do so. And then the last one, of course, climate weirding. Europe has had these extraordinary hot weeks.
Yeah.
So the climate deniers are going through all the old almanacs and all the old newspapers to show, no, this isn't new, it's happened before. And so one of the big ones was a report of a 56-degree C reading in northern Spain. Yeah, no, didn't happen. No temperature over 50 C has ever been recorded in Spain. And the 56-degree reading they're babbling about, the report of it says that it was taken in direct sunlight, which means it has no meaning at all. So, anyway, just, standard
That
shit.
tells me shit gets warm when I point 1,000 watts
Climate-
of light at it.
Yeah. Yeah, put your
Which,
hand
no
on
shit.
Put your hand on a macadam road. Oh, well, you might stick to it. You might not want to do that. So, I can remember as a child leaving footprints
Yeah.
in asphalt roads that had melted. So,
Well, there's a thing we can share.
what's that?
that looks like we get to still do that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, you did too?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying, with the roads getting hotter, I'm sure there'll be plenty of more chances to.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I feel bad for anybody whose vehicle gets stuck in it because they got stopped at a stoplight too long.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I think we're done.
Yeah.
All right. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, heart, follow, review,
Smash that like button on YouTube.
Go to BoomerRexTonight, no spaces on Facebook for fun memes, and over our Patreon, give us $1. You can find us on, oh God,
Apple Podcast.
no,
Patreon.
no. Check us out on YouTube as BoomerX, or on your favorite podcasting service. We can be
Right.
found on over a dozen different podcasts, including Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Samsung Podcasts. And
You're my favorite Samsung.
if you Google BoomerRexTonight, no spaces, all links will lead you to us.
All
We love
right.
y'all. We'll see you back here tomorrow night.
Good night.
For BoomerRexTonight.
Good night.
Fuck a Mueller prosecutor.